Welcome to the Ho Ho Show, rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airways and strap in as we defend the Constitution. Because freedom matters.
We are broadcasting from the Kata Studio, so welcome to the Ho Ho Show, and as always, I am your host, Ho Ho. There for a second, I forgot what I was doing. I hate it whenever that happens, I really do. So welcome everybody, how y'all's doing? Hope you guys are doing good. So, past couple weeks, I've been like, not this past week, but the couple weeks before that, I kind of been unplugged a little bit. I wasn't driving as much as I usually do, and that's whenever I listen to, watch, and, find out all kinds of crap. I still knew pretty much what was going on, because you hear the same thing from most everybody, everywhere, all the time. But the extent of things, I really wasn't paying attention to. I knew that it was just going to make me mad. I knew it was just going to make me angry. I knew it was going to tick me off. So it was like, why? Why put myself through that? This past week, holy crap. Holy crap. Finding out just how deep the rabbit hole goes, finding out, you have everybody saying this, but yet, well, we'll just get into it. But there's a couple things I want to talk about today. Of course, we are going to be going over, the fraud, and of which case, all things considered, past 3 weeks, past month, I forgot what today was. Past month, that's all you've been hearing from everybody, everywhere. It's been fraud this, fraud that, everything else. And so this is the last time I'm going to, 2 weeks from now, we'll probably talk about election stuff again because, the 14th, that's whenever, the Electoral College throws their 2 cents in and whenever everything should be done. So, next week, I ain't talking about fraud. Let's just put it that way. Next week, I ain't talking about the fraud. I ain't talking about the election. I ain't talking about crap. I ain't talking about any of it. Doesn't matter. I don't care. So, we are going to talk about that, touch base on, a bunch of different things. And we're also going to talk about some of the, the shutdowns and, who has been benefiting from it, who wants it, who doesn't want it, all that kind of good stuff. So, where are we going to start? You know what? Let's talk about the shutdown stuff, okay? My phone just went off. Ooh, that was loud. It wasn't intended to be loud. Okay, I don't care. All right. I don't know what it was. Doesn't matter. So, fraud stuff. Here we go. That's what we're going to talk about. So, okay. You have, not fraud stuff. We're not talking about fraud stuff yet. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're talking shutdown stuff. Okay, so you look at everything, businesses, everything else. Okay, you've got, businesses left and right closing down, small businesses and everything else. Okay, you have these stupid regulations that goes along with it. Now, okay, I don't really care what your view is about, mask wearing, anything like that. Okay. We're not getting into that right now. What I'm more or less talking about is the craziness that has been these mandates that they've been doing and talking about. Okay. You have okay to do this, but not okay to do that. Okay to go here, but not okay to go there. Okay to do this, but not okay to do that. For instance, they're talking about, not letting people protest the government with the possible fraud and whatnot. Okay. It's like, so you can protest anything else from the left, but you can't protest things from the right. You can go to a cannabis dispensary. You can go to a liquor store. You can't go to church. you can go to this place, but you can't go to that place. You can go to Walmart, you can go to Costco, you can go to these big box stores. You can order online, which you can do that from home, but you can't go to a smaller local business. You can't do that kind of things. And that's where I'm going with this, because none of these things has made any sense throughout the whole entire get-go. That's why you have so many people pushing back on this, because it's like nothing makes sense. There's no logic to it. There's no rhyme. There's no reason. You know, it's okay to, you know, like with some of the stuff, like, okay, you can be in a car with 4 people, but you can't be on a boat with 4 people. You know, like up in Michigan, some of the stuff they were doing up there, none of it made any sense. That's where I'm getting at. None of it made any sense. And in which case, yeah, obviously you got some pushback from it. Okay. But where I'm going with this is you have, you know, like I said, Walmart, Costco, Target, you know, these big box stores that are doing, you know, they're open for business. You know, these places have been packed month after month after month. These places have been packed, but yet you have places that are struggling to try to stay open. And they're being threatened with, you know, losing a license, losing liquor licenses, losing, you know, food handling licenses, losing all of this stuff because they don't want to abide by the rules. And it's like, you know, And hello, Jaron over there in Spreaker Land. How you doing? The 2 dog stars. K9. Okay. You got to be more specific, dude. And welcome, by the way. So, but you know, you have all these, you know, all these rules that are out there, but yet none of it is making any sense. Okay. You have, you know, you can go to Walmart, but you can't go to a small box store. And you have these places, like what I said, you have these places that are shutting down left and right. And yet, you know, it's these guys are loving it. Okay. They're loving it. Why? Because you have less competition for them. And of which case they're loving it. I seen a figure not that long ago, you know, earlier in the week, you know, seen a figure, you know, these billionaires, you know, the business owners of these various places, you know, they've made like over $1 trillion in profit, you know, this year since the pandemic started. Why? Because we're eliminating choice. You know, the government likes to pick winners and losers, and that's what they've done. They've allowed Walmart and they've allowed all these other businesses to stay open regardless of the shutdown, and yet they're making these smaller places, the mom and pop shops, you know, the private businesses, they've made them shut down, eliminating the competition, and these guys have made over $1 trillion off of this. It's like, holy crap. You know, there's no reason for that, because if it's safe to go into this business, then it's safe to go into the other businesses. You know, I mean, I know we had that stimulus a while back ago, and that was all good, fine, and dandy. But it was up to the banks to distribute the money. I mean, this wasn't done by, you know, that's the weird thing, because it wasn't done by any type of oversight from the government. You know, they just handed the money out. You know, it was, okay, this much money will go to this place, this much money will go to that place. But whenever it came to giving the money to businesses, they just gave the money to the banks and been, okay, you guys distribute the money how you see fit. You know, and I had heard numerous reports from people that were, you know, hey, you know, they went there to get some of these loans, but yet they weren't giving the loans out to like smaller businesses. Like, we're only going to write a check this big because anything else would be a waste of our time. You know, with these bigger banks that have, you know, that got more of the money, you know, I'm not going to give you the name of the bank because I don't remember. Okay. I don't remember. It's been a while ago, but I don't remember. But they were saying that we're not going to give a loan to a smaller business because it's a waste of our time. We're not going to make as much money off of this transaction as we would that transaction. So the small business owner, again, was being hurt because there wasn't enough rules put in place. I mean, even though the money was supposed to go to smaller businesses, there wasn't enough rules in place. There wasn't enough oversight. There wasn't enough accountability that was being placed on the banks to actually do it. Over $1 trillion in profit. Holy crap, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So why do I bring it up? We need to help the small businesses. We need to open the country back up. We need to get rid of the disinformation, stop fear-mongering, and just let people be responsible for their own and be like, okay, I've got health concerns. I've got health issues. Stay home. You want to go out, go out. Otherwise, leave people alone to their own devices, okay? Here's something else that I found amazing, okay? You have Illinois, huge spike in Illinois, where I'm at, big spike happening. Democrat-controlled state. New York, California, they've been having issues. And for the most part, these states have had overbearing mandates and regulations to hinder businesses from being open, to, with mask mandates and everything else. Okay, there's been a lot of rules, a lot of mandates, a lot of travel restrictions and everything else. Okay, all these things going on. Overbearing government saying, do this, don't do that, whatever. Okay. And then you have states like Florida. States like, North Dakota, South Dakota, okay? These places have had a steady decline in, I don't remember if it was deaths or if it was cases. I think it was deaths. A steady decline for several months, okay? Steady decline. But yet these states that have been very overbearing, these states that have had these huge lockdowns and mask mandates and everything else, they've seen a pretty good increase. But they're not wanting to talk about that. They're not wanting to talk about it. They're not wanting to tell us about that. Why? Because it doesn't really fit with the narrative that they're wanting us to believe. Okay, they want to tell us that the masks work. They want to tell us that social distancing works. They want to tell us that, shutting down the country is actually going to have a positive effect on your health. But yet, the ones who haven't been shutting down have been doing pretty good as far as cases and deaths goes. But yet, they want to, throw Florida under the bus and ignore what's going on in Chicago, in Illinois, in New York and California. They want to ignore what's going on in Michigan because it doesn't fit the narrative that they're wanting us to believe. Because they want to keep it shut down, because they want to pick the winners and losers, and yeah. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When I return, we will go ahead and start talking about some of this voter fraud. Good times. Yeah. All right, guys, just a couple minutes, and I'll be right back. Have you ever sat down on your throne just to find out that you are dangerously low on shift tickets, making it to where you have to make a mad dash to the store just to pick yourself up some? If this has ever happened to you, pick up the #1 most rated toilet paper found in Uranus and use what the professionals use. Angel Soft. See, I'm just not a fan of some toilet paper. Some of them is like putting a pillow between your nice rosy. Others, like John Wayne toilet paper, it's like using sandpaper. But do what the professionals use. Use the type of toilet paper that is the Goldilocks of brands, Angel Soft. Available wherever toilet paper is sold. And welcome back to the Ho Ho Show. How y'all doing? And welcome Ashley over there in YouTube land. Good to see you. So, all right, quick thing before I forget, because I just remembered a little while ago, and I have a tendency to forget to do this. I need y'all's email address. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there has been an attack on conservative-leaning media on social media. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. There's been a push to silence people. There's been a push to, shadow ban, all these other kind of good things. And I'm needing your email address because this way, I can send out information and, keep in contact if by chance something happens. It's one of the good things about being a small timer like I am. I fly under the radar. They don't know me, which is good. I like that. But just in case, I'm needing email addresses. So, if you would, head on over to after the show, thehohoshow.com. And I think there's a link or there's a button or something. There's just something on the bottom of the page that, you know what, let me look. Because now it's like, what's on my thing? I don't even remember. I know it's down there. Scrolling on down. Oh, yeah, there it is. Contact me and then sign up for a newsletter. But, my email address is in there, so if y'all just click on it and then just send me something, say, hey, this is who I am, or, send me something, or, whatever. So then they can do that, and there you go. So, hi. All right, so we're getting into the fraud. We're getting into the stuff that has been going on, okay? Now, I know that there's been a lot of repetition, okay, as far as what has been talked about, okay, about, people being told to use Sharpies whenever you're not supposed to use Sharpies. There's a lot of different things, but the thing is, it's going on in multiple different places. It's not like it's doing, they're doing this here and they're doing something else over there. It's pretty uniform what it is that they're doing, and they're doing it quite a few different places. They're doing it, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Georgia, a lot of different things, and they've been doing a lot of bad stuff, okay? Now, here's the thing that I find hilarious, okay? 2016, they were trying to say voter fraud. They never did accept the results of the 2016 election. Russia disinformation, stuff that, the propaganda and the ads that Russia was running on Facebook and all this other kind of stuff, that's what they were trying to say. Okay, voter fraud. And there was, news reports all over the place from CNN, from CBS, from MSNBC, all kinds of different places that were saying the same thing. Possibility out there of these machines being hacked, that fraud was going on and everything else. I mean, y'all remember. Okay, y'all, it was 4 years ago, but yeah, everybody remembers this. And now, fast forward to a month ago, 2020 election. There's nothing to see here. Even though they started off the entire thing by going, this is what's going to happen. And we have, the Biden campaign going, we have the largest, a huge anti-fraud legal team out here to combat and do legal battle upon legal battle if we lose and we think we shouldn't. Okay, we have Hillary Clinton going out there going, do not concede under any circumstances. And now they are berating Trump because reports of fraud, reports of fraud, reports of fraud. Now, what do we mean by this? Let's get a little specific, okay? You have hundreds of lawsuits that have been filed, okay? Hundreds of affidavits, signed affidavits that people have, testified about under perjury or threat of perjury. Yeah. Punished, being punished if they were caught lying. Okay. Hundreds of them. Not just one, not just two, not a few, a lot. A lot. Okay. Let's back up a little bit. The Ukraine call. I'm sure you guys remember about that. The Ukraine call, the thing that they wanted to impeach the president over. A whistleblower, as they claimed. Well, no, it wasn't actually a whistleblower, because a whistleblower is defined by somebody who has firsthand information, firsthand knowledge of what happened, and is presenting the facts, and this is what happened, and he should be punished for this. Well, the so-called whistleblower wasn't actually a whistleblower because he didn't have any firsthand information. He had secondhand information, and he's like, this is what happened. This is what I was told. This is what I think about it. Now go talk to this person because this is where I got my information from, because I wasn't present for the call. And then all the people that had firsthand information was like, there's nothing to see here. But yet they're still like, we need to further investigate this. So again, you have hundreds of people signed affidavits going, there's something to see here. And yet mainstream media is basically quiet on the fraud. All they're basically saying is, reporting on what Barr's saying by, there's no fraud to see here. Nothing to see here, But again, they're not actually investigating this. Okay? They're not investigating it. All right? So you have signed affidavits by truck drivers whom transported completed ballots across state lines. Nothing to see here. Okay. You have postmasters whom were told, signed affidavit, threat of perjury, jail time, punishment, whatever, that said that he was told to backdate ballots that came in late. Even though that was against the law to allow those, even though that was part of a court ruling that said you cannot allow ballots to come in after the election, he was told, ignore that, backdate it so we can still count it. But there's nothing to see here. No fraud. None at all. You have ballots showing votes for multiple candidates. This was a good one. Okay, that were still counted for Biden, even though they were supposed to be thrown out because it was an invalid ballot. Okay, I mean, it's like having, okay, let me bring it down for you, okay? Like ballots that had a vote for both Biden and, let's say, somebody in the Green Party, and then they're just like, yeah, we'll just give this to Biden. There you go. That's an invalid ballot. That ballot is supposed to be thrown out, supposed to be thrown away because it's not valid. But what did they do anyway? We'll just give that to Biden. Because I think that this person really intended on casting their vote for Biden. So we're going to give it to Biden. It's not a valid ballot. It's supposed to be thrown out. That's the law. Let me repeat that. That's the law. The law says throw this ballot out. Did they do that? No. They didn't do that. You have reports of ballots being counted multiple times, okay? Like whenever they are inputting these into the machines, okay? They do this in what they call workable batches, okay? 25, 50, whatever. I don't know how big their workable batches were. And let's say there was some type of a discrepancy in there. And they had to, what they are supposed to do, once they're feeding them in, discrepancy, crap. They have to clear the batch and then recount. Okay? But that's not what they did. They would take the batch and then they would just recast every one of them without clearing the batch out. So, and this happened. Okay, one person reported that it was, or signed an affidavit, like they recounted ballots like 10 plus times. These batches. So hard telling how many ballots were actually counted multiple times. Who knows? But again, no fraud here, nothing to see. Move along. And this is one of them that I thought was pretty interesting. Okay, we're talking about the Dominion thing. You guys know. None of these machines are supposed to be hooked up to the interwebs. None of them. They're not supposed to be. Okay. And granted, at this particular point in time, without actually going into the machine itself and going into the hard drive and downloading the logs of the machine, there's no way to really prove that it was. But it looks as though it was. Because one, the user manual of these machines were, like right there in the user manual says, hook up the Ethernet cable to connect it to the interwebs. They looked at the traffic, internet traffic. And it's like, okay, well, we can't really say that there was, they were hooked up to the internet. Well, here's the traffic from this place to that place and the time frame that all that stuff happened. And, okay, well, maybe there was, again, but they're saying nothing to see here. So you have signed affidavits by hundreds of people, 300 plus people, of things that they witnessed, things that they seen, laws that were broken, nothing to see here, that could easily, because this is what, Barr said, this is what everybody else is saying, is that, okay, there wasn't any fraud. And then, okay, well, there might have been some fraud, but not enough fraud to really move the election, swing it either way. And then it's like, well, still there's nothing to see here. But again, this is something that I talked about last week too. They haven't actually even looked into the machine, get the log data out of it. They haven't investigated it. And this is the frustrating part. They haven't investigated it. All they're saying is there's nothing to see here, but they're not taking that step to actually investigate it, go into the issue, especially when we're talking about the data aspect of it with the internet traffic, with the logs that are in the machines. Instead, they're starting to get rid of them, destroy them, wipe them clean. Things that they have already thrown away in order to not allow there to be recounts and recertifications on anything that's happened. And yet they want us to say that there's nothing to see here. And for those of you that are out there that are like, yay, go Biden. If you're so proud of him, if you're so secure in what happened, if you're so secure in the fact that he won, wouldn't you welcome these investigations to prove to people like me once and for all that, yes, he is the legitimate president? I mean, isn't that the quickest way to shut us up? Isn't that truly the quickest way to shut us up, back us off, and okay, fine. I love it how you have all these people whom are, he's not my president, from 2016, not my president. Now we actually have legitimate concerns about the validity of the election. But yet, you want us to just sit down, shut up, take our medicine? But yet you're not willing to actually investigate it, prove that he is the winner beyond a shadow of a doubt. And yeah, They don't want to actually prove the validity of the election. Instead, they just want us to sit down and shut up. And to me, if you want America to actually hold, with because elections are supposed to be sacred. You want us to honor the process. You want us to respect the process. You want us to have faith in the process, but yet you're not willing to actually do anything to validate your claim that he is the legitimate president. You notice they didn't want to really investigate anything in 2016 either, because they didn't want to be proven wrong. And again, they don't actually want to validate their claim because they don't want to be proven wrong. We want to believe you. And here's the thing, too. The president, Trump, would step down if it was a legitimate election and if there wasn't the widespread, very real cases of fraud out there. He would step down. Yes, he absolutely would. Why isn't he? Why is he not shutting up? Why is he not just transition team? Because there's way too much fraud. Way too many allegations, way too many investigations that need to be done. That he can't just do that. And I'm glad he doesn't. I'm glad he hasn't. Now, granted, I hate to say this, I don't think it's going to mean anything. I don't think it's going to matter. I really don't. They've made their decision. Do I think there needs to be investigations done? Absolutely. It's going to take too long to do anything right now. I mean, let's just face it, okay? I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. But I don't think it's really going to matter. I don't really think it's going to do anything. And hello, Dave, over there in Spreaker Land. Good to see you. And he puts a very good point in here. He goes, if Biden was really all about unity and bringing the country together, you would think that he would support a full investigation of the entire election process. And Dave, you are exactly right. If he believed that he was the rightful president, if he believed, think about this, Brett Kavanaugh, investigate me. That's what he said, investigate it. They did, numerous times. Nothing to see here. Biden, just trust me, believe me. I've been in politics for 40 plus years, but just believe me when I tell you I'm innocent. Who cares about the allegations? Just believe me. Trust me, I'm a politician. I'm from the government. I'm here to help. Okay. I don't trust you. But okay. In the unity, but yet dividing the country because whatever. You guys know. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take another quick break. Half hour into this. And when I return, I'm going to peruse the stuff that I've got in here and see where I am going from here. Just a couple minutes, guys, and I will be right back. Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy, have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin. Available wherever OTCs are sold. And we're back. Ashley put in there, he goes, on point. Biden shouldn't be afraid of ensuring votes were counted accurately. You're right. He shouldn't be afraid of that. If he is, in fact, the clear winner. Okay, there's one thing I didn't get into with all the fraud crap that I just spoke of, okay? And that's the numbers. I hadn't gotten into the numbers. Now, granted, I haven't really dug deep into this, but let me just give you a few highlights right quick, okay? One, for the first time since there has been a Democrat and a Republican Party, for the first time this election, there is more registered Republicans than there are Democrats. Okay? First time. And I'm not even talking the aspect of whenever you have people whom just voted, it's pretty likely that people that have just registered, it's pretty likely that they're going to vote in that election. So you have all of those, okay? And that's also ignoring the fact that you have people that might be on the registry several times, okay? From people that has moved, from people whom have died, and are still on the voter registry. So now this isn't, that's something that isn't purely Democrat or purely Republican, but it's still something to take note of. People moving, people dying. They haven't removed them from the voter registry yet. Why? I don't know. I just heard there is a proposal. I just heard about this a few days ago, and I had to laugh. I really did. I had to laugh. The proposal was a bill that I don't know if this is House or Senate. I have absolutely no idea whatsoever. And I had to chuckle. It made my heart chuckle. It made me feel good. I thought it was hilarious. A bill going through that says dead people can't vote in elections. You have to make this a law? I didn't think dead people can vote anyway. I heard a thing, and this was one of the Bushes. I don't remember which. One of the Bushes talking about election. What's that word I'm looking for? Election something. Election whatever. Election reform. We'll go with that word. That's a good word to use. I like that word, election reform. And some of the things that he was talking about was, I should put in there, yeah, exactly. Dead people, you can't vote. Anyway, things that they need to do to ensure a safe, secure, accurate election. And some of the things include, voter ID. I find it amazing how it's racist to want somebody to provide an ID in order to vote. But yet it's not racist if you have to, you get asked for your ID to buy alcohol, to buy cigarettes, to rent a car, to buy a car, to get a hotel room, fly, all kinds of different things require you to have some form of identification establishing who you are and that you are of legal age to do what it is that you want to do. But yet, for some reason, not to vote. And I don't know what law is being violated by telling somebody you have to provide your ID, because the places that require photo identification, it's not like they're just saying you have to provide a photo identification. Every other year, every 4 years, people are going to their voting places to vote, asked their identification, and you have these voter IDs, or at least an ID card that you can get once you establish who it is that you is, these things are good for like 10 years, and as I was saying, every place that requires voter registration, a voter ID card, they will provide you free of charge an identification card, a way to prove you is who you say you is. And here in the state of Illinois, they're like $10, maybe 15. I don't know. I mean, it's been a while since I've gotten a voter ID, or not voter ID, but, just an ID card outside of my driver's license. The one I have is currently expired, but I mean, it still shows my ugly mug to where it's easy enough to say, yep, nobody would claim to be you. Anyway, so that's the thing, okay? But yet it's somehow racist, somehow that requiring voter ID is a violation of somebody's freedom. There's nothing constitutional against it because, I mean, here's the thing. You can't deny somebody's right to vote because of race, color, creed, whatever. You can't do that. That's against the law already. Anyway, I don't get it. And then you have, cleaning up and keeping up to date the voter registry, getting rid of the dead people that are still registered to vote, eliminating those numbers, which they tried to do several years back in Florida, but yet they were told, no, you can't do this. You have to keep these people in the voter registry. What if they come back to life? Then they have to be able to vote, right? Of course they do. You have them to where, people that have moved out, that have moved from one place to, moving from one place to another, still within the same jurisdiction, those that have moved out of state, they're like, you still have to keep that stuff in there because we don't want fraud to happen. So you have to keep your registry the same, but no, in order to ensure election integrity, they're like, get rid of the dead people from the registry, get rid of the people that have moved, verify these people, okay? They also even say getting rid of and not doing the whole, exit polling and reporting the numbers, the election numbers throughout the day, just keeping all that stuff dark, not reporting any of that until the election is actually over. Now, why is that important? Well, think about it. If they didn't know how many votes they needed in Georgia, then they wouldn't have come up with a magical number that put him ahead however many they needed to in order to ensure that, well, there's nothing to see here. That's why that's important. I mean, granted, you're going to hinder a lot of people that, a lot of these places that do these election shows all day long, whenever you're not reporting the numbers, but in order to ensure a secure election, I think it's a small price to pay. Very much a small price to pay. This way people can focus on get out and vote and not focus on we need to fraud. Anyway. Where am I going with this? Oh, yeah. But the numbers, I didn't talk about the numbers. So, more Republicans and Democrats, things where the Democrat vote was like, over 100%. Okay, you have Biden outperformed Obama in the the black vote. You have, he underperformed in the cities and in places where they knew that they didn't need to commit any fraud in order for Biden to win. He underperformed, but yet he overperformed only in the swing states where they were, where fraud has been reported. Okay. It's interesting, right? Yeah. I've been hearing things on the numbers and it's unreal. It's unreal. Statistically impossible. Doesn't add up. Math that just doesn't make sense whatsoever. Being able to count thousands of votes in a few seconds in different jurisdictions, okay. But yet there's nothing to see here. Moving on. No, that's not what I meant to click on. Okay. All right. Now, this one I thought was absolutely hilarious. I am changing directions here. I'm heading over to an article from Fox News. Headline is, let me make sure that is turned off. It is. All right. This headline, again, from Fox News, Lawrence Jones on Biden-Harris CNN sit down. This is why he doesn't do interviews. Now, I didn't watch all of this. This was more or less just a little snippet that I seen, and I only bring this up because it reminded me of this. Okay, now CNN, they had a sit down with, Harris and Biden, and some of the things that he was saying, it was like, okay, this makes no sense. Like, for instance, okay, he was talking, and Biden, he was talking how during the Obama administration, he basically told Obama that, hey, if we have some type of a disagreement in policy, okay, I mean, yes, we're going to argue this and that and the other, and of which case that's fine. But if there is a specific, like a hard-nosed thing that you have a policy on, a position on a policy, then we'll stay lockstep. But if I can't stay in lockstep with you, well, then is what I'll do. Instead of undermining your position, undermining your presidency, and showing strife between the two of us, then I'll just get sick and then bow out. Basically saying that he would do the same thing in a Biden-Harris presidency. What? Wait a second. I can understand that whenever you're the VP under Obama. That's okay. I can understand that. But you're the president over Harris, and you're going to bow out if you have a policy disagreement with Harris? She's the VP. You're the P. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys remember this, but a while back ago, one of the mainstream media news anchor people said the Harris-Biden ticket. I don't think anybody really paid a whole heck of a lot of attention to this. But, it's very clear that Biden is nothing more than the puppet, and it's actually going to be not Biden who's calling the shots in this presidency. And especially whenever you have Biden saying that, he's, if they have a policy disagreement, he'll just get sick and bow out. That's what he can do. Now, I mean, granted, he may have misspoke. I get it. He may have. He may have just been making a point. Okay, I'm all right with that too. Not even talking about the misspeaks. I misspeak all the time. I have mouth issues sometimes. I mean, holy crap. I mean, holy cow. I'll try saying something, 20 different things are trying to come out of my mouth at the same time, and it just doesn't work out for me too good. I understand that. Your mind moves faster than your mouth can. Yeah, you know what I mean. Issues. We all have issues talking. We all have issues speaking. Of course we do. But it's happens to him all the time, it seems like, and not just in small little bitty things. I mean, he forgets things. I mean, you guys have heard the thing, it's like the preamble, the whatever, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women created, the thing. This is something that was beat into my head. I don't know about you guys, but this was something that was beat into my head when I was in elementary school. No. Whenever I was going in junior high, okay, before I was able to get into high school. This is something that was beat into my head. Now, I mean, granted, it's been a long time since he's been in high school, since he was in junior high. I get that, but this is still something that was beat in my head. Like the Pledge of Allegiance, beat in my head. This is something that I'm not going to make a mistake on trying to speak it out. It's just, have you guys ever had that? You have something that you have recited so many times that you don't actually think about the words coming out of your mouth. They just kind of flow right out of there. This is an example of one of those things. isn't it? Evidently not for the president-elect, Joe Biden. So the mistalk, so I mean, yeah, he has issues. Anyway, kind of all over the place today, ain't I? Anyway, this is why he doesn't do interviews. And I'll even go as far as to say that he doesn't do interviews anyway, because have you ever seen one of his interviews? They don't actually ask him policy questions. They don't actually ask him anything of substance whatsoever. This is I mean, guys, think about this, okay? Think about this. Ashley says it's frightening. It is frightening. But think about this, okay? This is somebody, a president-elect, a nominee, somebody whom has tried to run for president. This is his third attempt. He tried twice already. Had to bow out both times. This isn't the person that they wanted. They didn't want a Biden presidency. They just didn't want a Trump presidency. Think about it. Every person whom it is his turn to run has failed. Romney failed. McCain failed. Everybody who, Ford failed. Everybody who was supposed to, it's your turn, they failed. Okay, look at former President Obama. He made people excited to vote for him. He won not once, but twice. Trump, people were ticked about the direction of the country. People were ticked about the lies, the continual lies of politicians, and people said that we're done playing the game here. We're not going to do this anymore. We want somebody to be president who's not a politician, who's going to tell it like it is, and maybe we can move forward. The president who did more, who followed through on more promises than any president in modern history. Dave put in here, no one wanted a Harris presidency too. Yeah, nobody. Yeah, she was. Man, what was her numbers? Did she even make 1%, Dave? I don't remember. It's been too long since the Democrat primaries, but I don't even think she hit 1% in the primary. I don't think she did. I mean, I don't remember, but yeah, I don't even think she hit 1%. Not at all. Anyway. So yeah, nobody was excited about this. So, I mean, do you really think that he rallied the troops? Get out and vote for me, the person whom you don't care if I am president or not. You just don't want Orange Man bad. Anyway. Yeah. Moving on. Oh yeah, more pop-ups. Isn't it amazing? All right, we're going to end with this one. Really, you got to have a thing. Okay, so this headline from The Root, I guess, says, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is planning a coup, but he's doing exactly what somebody would do if they were planning a coup. This is another one, guys, where I absolutely had to laugh. Okay, I had to laugh. I had to chuckle. I was like, with everything that happened, okay? I mean, guys, let's hit the Wayback Machine. Let's go back in time. 88 miles an hour in our DeLorean. Let's wait for that lightning to strike, and then 1.21 gigawatt hitting the flux capacitor because I fell off my toilet and hit my head. Let's go back 4 years. It was like, was he even president yet whenever they were talking about impeaching him? Claiming that impeachment is whatever we say impeachment is, so we can charge him for anything we want to charge him with. The phony dossier. Make no mistake about it, guys. This was a coup that we're talking about, okay? This was a political coup to knock a duly elected president out of the White House. This is what they did. And now they're saying because President Trump has the audacity to demand a free and fair election, verifiable, something where there's no fraud going on. He's demanding this, that they do this. But yet that is planning a coup. I mean, I even heard something, guys. This one actually kind of cracked me up. Let me scroll up to the top because I know it's up here. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. There it is. This is from CNN. Really? Okay. Trump Pentagon nominee spreads debunked conspiracies and tweets suggesting that Trump declare martial law. And I've heard this getting floated around as well. I've heard this being floated around, okay? That the president should declare martial law to demand another election, another vote, in order to get real numbers where there is no fraud goings on. That's what they're more or less talking that he should do. Don't accept the results of the election, declare martial law, declare another vote, and then maybe we'll have, some sort of truth going on here. And in which case, guys, it sounds good. It really does. It's like, okay, I get it. I get what you're saying here. But that's not necessarily the right thing to do. I don't recommend taking that course of action. I just don't. I really don't. Oh, wow. Yeah. I don't recommend that course of action, guys. I mean, it sounds good. It sounds exactly like it's something that we would want to do. Go on. Yeah. I don't recommend it. I really don't. Okay. But we do need to go through this. Really do. From top to bottom, inside and out. We need to go through this. We need to. I feel like I got a little something right there. I don't see nothing. Okay. There's something wrong with me, guys. There really is. There's something wrong with me. Anyway, we need to investigate this fully and completely. Okay. I even heard something not that long ago, and it was about somebody, well, not that long ago, as in like yesterday or 2 days ago or whatever. I was listening to the Andrew Wilkow show. Wilkow Majority. Holy crap. I was listening to that, and he had a caller that called in and was like, can he, living in California, let's just say he was living in California. I have no idea where he was living. Let's just say California because it sounds good. It's a big state. He might live there. I don't know. Should he, by course of action, file a lawsuit in Georgia about their mishandling of the election because them doing that lessens the value of his vote on the federal election? I was like, I thought that was an interesting thing, but it made me think. Okay, it made me think. Okay. According to the Constitution, the election laws are made by the state legislature. Okay. So how much power does the federal, I don't want to say federal court, because the heck with the court. Their job is not to legislate. Their job is to determine whether a law is or is not constitutional, whether it's something that should be upheld or something that should be thrown away. That is the only job of the legislative branch. That's the only job of the Supreme Court. That is it. Their job is not to legislate. They do not have that power. They do not have that authority. I mean, how can you have more authority than what the document that gives you authority gives you? Anyway. So, should they, how much power does the legislative branch on a federal level have in the goings on a local level, a state level, whenever it comes to the elections? I mean, can they mandate these voter laws that I was talking about earlier with getting rid of the, dead people, getting rid of, cleaning out the voter registry, ensuring voter identification, all this other kind of stuff. Do they actually have the power to enforce change in the election process in various states? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. But that's a good question, though. Me, I think it's an amazing question. Okay? Don't get me wrong. I do not like the idea of handing over more power to the federal government because they can just as easily say secure vote than unsecure vote, or they can just as easily say unsecure vote as secure vote. I knew what I meant, but I don't think I said that right whatsoever. I really don't. I think I screwed that up, guys. I think I did. Anyway, I don't like the idea of just handing more power over to the federal government, but at the same time, on a federal level, and I'm not talking, local level, because if these guys want to totally screw up how they elect their governors, then whatever, more power to you. But on a federal level, how much power do they really have? Or should they have? I don't know. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Okay. You know what? I actually think that's everything. Let me do a quick scan through this. I think there was actually another chuckle thing that I have in here, throwing this all the way down to the bottom. Kids are suffering. Oh, yeah. Latest guidance from CDC, universal mask wearing mandate, no holiday travel. Huh? Oh, yeah, that's something. There was a video that Mr. Canyon, and I do recommend checking him out, Dumbing It Down with Dave. Good show, great show. Actually, I love listening to him. He, and I tell you what, I have a lot of respect for him because of, doing these type of things aren't easy. Okay. And sometimes you get personal. His show is awesome. He opens up, he lets you into his world. It's awesome. It really is. Check him out. Dumbing It Down with Dave. You can find him anywhere podcasts can be found. He's got a YouTube channel out there. Dumb with Dave, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember all the places he's at, but look for Dumbing It Down with Dave or Dumb with Dave on different platforms, and you guys will be able to find him. He's on the YouTubes. He's like I said, everywhere podcasts can be found. Dumbing It Down with Dave. Check him out. Anyway, he forwarded a video onto me, and it was talking about how, these different places with the CDC with these mandates that they are, I'm ever. Huh? Dave says, I'm ever. He probably means I'm everywhere. And yes, he is definitely everywhere. Like I said, he is everywhere. Podcasts can be found. But he sent me a video, and I had heard this being said, but I didn't hear about them apologizing about that. So that part was definitely news to me. But these places, okay, because like our very own Governor J.B. Gravy Sweats, Pritzker, okay, he was doing these mandates. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. DaveCanyon.com as well. That is DaveKanyan.com. Check him out there. You can get all his content and everything else. Go there, check that out. There you go. Anyway, I'm bouncing. I don't mean to bounce. And that's a bad thing because bouncing. Anyway, so, but the video was like, with our very own Gravy Sweats, I had to back my train up and then hop into the car again. There you go. So with JB Gravy Sweats, Pritzker, he was, don't do all this while he and his family went out and did that. Okay, the whole do as I say and not as I do. So this video was like, people, and this was a CNN video, if I'm not mistaken, but you have these multiple people that were apologizing for the crap that they have been doing with what they have been saying that you shouldn't do, and yet they're going ahead and doing it. I just, again, I say that because you have people that are, like I said, do as I say, not as I do, no accountability. And people are like, I have to follow these rules. Why do I have to follow these rules whenever these people whom are telling me that I shouldn't be doing this aren't following the rules? This is something that, this is a me type of a thing. Okay. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but this is a me kind of a thing. Okay. For the most part, I have issues, big issues with authority. Okay. Big surprise. Yeah, no. Not for the reasons that you think. But like a cop, for instance, he's not the exception of the law. He's the example of the law. That's what he's supposed to be, His flashing light on the top of his car does not grant him permission to enter an intersection on the red light. There are still traffic laws, and he still must abide by them, even in the case of an emergency. He is supposed to still abide by these laws. Stopping at stop signs, speed limit, red lights, all these things is what they are doing is asking permission from the other motorists in that intersection. Can I go in without getting hit? That's what those lights are. It's not a demand of my presence. It is asking permission for me to enter this intersection and proceed after doing whatever it is that I'm doing. Okay? Example of the law, not the exception. And that is why these people like Pritzker, these other governors out there, they tick me off and they irritate me because they are acting as though they are the exception. They're not. That's one of these reasons why I hate the politicians in general. I hate them. I hate them all. Every one of them. Because here they are, locked down, and yet they can lock down, they can stay home, they can do all this, but yet they're still receiving their 100% government paycheck. They're not suffering through this at all because they feel as though they are better. They feel as though they are not the example of the law. They feel as though they are the exception of the law. Why do you think all these things that are controversial in nature, why do you think that, like with Obamacare, they wasn't subject to it? They wasn't subject to it at all. They had their own health care that was amazing. But if Obamacare was so utterly amazing, why didn't they want to be on it? They think they're better than you. They think they're the exemption of their own law. And Dave put in here, he goes, me too. I respect authority with sincerity and integrity. I do not respect overbearing, disrespectful authority. And that's exactly how I am. That's exactly how I am. And that's a great way to put it, Dave. I respect authority, sincere, integrity, people who understand, there's a responsibility that comes with authority. There's a responsibility that comes with being a leader of people. There's a responsibility to that. Unfortunately, people take it for granted. They don't realize what it means. They don't realize what it is. They just don't care. They get power hungry and they let that power go to their head. And for some reason, they think they are exempt from the very things that they are trying to weigh us down with. I don't like it. I don't like it. I never have. I never will. In fact, and this is hilarious. I mean, I've been fired from managers that I absolutely respect. I have been, I messed up. I understand. You got to fire me. I understand it. I respect that. You have yourself a wonderful day. Shook the man's hand on the way out. I was like, I did a no. I did something bad. I understand. You got to do what you got to do. It happens, Yeah. All right, guys. That's all I got for today. Y'all have yourself a wonderful one. I do thank you all again for stopping in and saying hi and being part of the show. I greatly appreciate it. Again, head on over to thehohoshow.com if you guys want to check out the different articles that I referenced, because there's a lot more. I think I put like 43 different articles in there. Of course, I didn't talk about all of them. But, if you guys want to check those out, head over to thehohoshow.com, click on that newsfeed tab, and there you'll see my magazine on Flipboard. Yeah, Flipboard. And, you guys can check it out over there. And also, if you would, click on the contact me, whatever. My email is in there, hoho@thehohoshow.com. This way I can get you all's emails and spam the holy crap out of you. Okay, so maybe I won't actually spam the holy crap out of you. But, this way we can still keep in touch just in case we get knocked off of these various platforms. Dave says, great show. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir. And Kane, hi, how you doing over there in Facebook land? He says, hi, ho. Dude, I got something for you. I really do. I think it was you that I was talking with about the headphone thingies that goes over your ear, Bluetooth. I think that was you. I'm almost positive. So, yes, and Dave says he is everywhere. You can head on over to davecanyon.com. Again, that is DAVEKANYAN.com. You guys can check out his stuff. He is everywhere podcasts are located. All right. And I do appreciate it. You guys have yourself a wonderful day. Good night. Sleep tight as long as I get over here. And don't let the bed bugs bite. Have a good one, guys. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpikle.com. Until next time.